Welcome back to the GTI project. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make your own DIY strut bar out of some exhaust clamps and a piece of metal. Now, it'd be best if you had a grinder, a drill. Well, you definitely need a drill and a grinder, and it'd be preferable if you had a welder. But if you don't have a welder, I think you can do this without a welder. It just wouldn't be quite as strong. But yeah, follow back in the video. It's completely removable strut bar, DIY. I see them online for as cheap as like $100. I made this for about, I don't know, the metal I had laying around. So I think this is totally in on like $25 to $40, somewhere like that, depending on if you have metal or not. But super cheap, super easy. So follow along. So I put this, make this bar. Today's video, I see a lot of people online making a strut tower that goes between the two rear struts out of exhaust clamps. So those are 2-inch exhaust clamps. And essentially what you do is you clamp the exhaust clamp around the top of the, loud noises. You clamp the exhaust clamp around the top of the shock tower on one side. And once that's there, you do the same thing on the other side, and then you take like a piece of bar stock. I happen to have like an extra piece of bar stock, and then you weld it between the two, creating a very inexpensive style bar clamp. Now, a lot of the ones I've looked at buying are basically the same thing. They have the same kind of idea where they clamp on. So went down to Napa or AutoZone, whatever, and I bought 2 clamps. Now, there's a couple different ones you can get. You see how this is really like angled right there? Had to go to 2 different shops to find this one. At least has this little bit of a straight. A lot of them go like completely at an angle right here, because it's meant to go around a piece of exhaust, and you don't need that. But I'm going to be welding to this area, so I wanted that straight section. The only thing I've done so far, I realized that because of how round this is, this is the stock one, and you can see if I put them up against each other, it's really cold in my shop right now. It's like 20 something degrees, so yeah, it's hard to hold things. It's like freezing cold. But you'll see that I kind of ground down the outer edge there on the right to make it fit around this round part easier. Otherwise, it kind of doesn't go in all the way. So I'm gonna grind down that other bit on that one, and then bolt that in. Once I got both sides bolted in, I'm gonna cut this to size and tack weld it in and see what it looks like, just to give an idea. To give a little bit of structure to the rear of a GTI. And this will be the same on Golfs. The GTIs on the inside are basically the same as the Golf, other than trim pieces. So this will work for you if you have a Golf. But yeah, I'm gonna grind out the other one of these and weld it, or get it on, and then measure, cut this, and tack it on and see what it looks like. All right, I got both of them ground down. So now they're bolted in on both sides. So I think what I'm going to do is try to make this more of like a bolt-on and cut out this side of the square piece of a tube and leave this as like flat stock. So that way there's enough section for a screw here where I can like get that piece of metal, bolt it in, and then weld it on this side to make it like extra strong. So I'm going to try to do that right now. I'm going to measure from there to there and use what little left of bar I have and cut it down to size and see how it works. All right, so I probably wasn't the best at explaining what I was doing, but I measured from the edge to edge on both sides, and then I cut out a flat side. I guess I gotta clean it up, but just to give you an idea. So that way I can bolt through 2 holes there, and then this edge right here, I'm gonna weld from that edge to that edge and weld that as the one piece, and then do the same on the other side. So let me do that and come back and show you. All right, I got it all ground out and mocked up. So I'm going to be welding right here. I guess if you didn't have a welder, you can, bolt it, which I'm still going to bolt it, but I have a welder. And even if you didn't have a welder, that's pretty weak. So you really should weld it. But I guess if you really wanted to super DIY this without tools, you probably could. But I'm not going to. I'm going to weld this in. Now, this isn't the strongest bar, but I guess if the idea is to keep this side from, bending in, this is pretty strong, actually. And it's a lot stronger than nothing. So I'm going to run with this just because I had this bar. But let me get this welded up. I'm going to get this tacked into place. Once it's tacked in, I'm going to take it off and drill press these holes out so I can get the bolts through it and actually bolt it back up. So let me get that done. Turns out I'm out of argon, but I guess it doesn't matter So I got it tacked on there. So I can take those off. Now I'm going to take the bar off and, well, it didn't fall apart. I can tack weld apparently. So this side I got to bend a little bit because it's kind of off. So I'll get that off. And then I'm going to do a nicer job of welding. Without argon, it's going to be a little hard to keep it super clean. But, you know, everybody likes to critique welders on online. So critique my welds. Anyway, I'm going to finish welding this out and get it back on there. But that should actually go on and off pretty easy. It just kind of clips on there. Put the little U-bolts in, tighten it up, and it's in. Might do some other like triangulation between there and the back or something, or down to the floor, or just leave it. I mean, we'll see what happens. All right, so this is one of the easiest projects I've done on this car so far. I mean, just two of these 2-inch exhaust clamps, a bit of time with a grinder, and if you really didn't have like a welder, you could definitely put this together without a welder. You can just do everything and other than weld it out. But if you have a welder, it's preferable. Or you can just put it together and have someone else weld it. That's too. So if you're really trying to save some money. But yeah, this is actually pretty damn strong. So I thought it wouldn't be, but I'm also thinking if you bought 4 of these exhaust clamps and have one on the other side and then just have straight through bolts, and then you can have another parallel bolt bar on that side, and then maybe weld the piece together between the two and make it really structural between the two sides. But I don't know. For what I'm doing with this car, I think this is perfect. I can always add that later. This was super cheap. Each one of those was like $5 at AutoZone. So $10 for that. I don't know how much the bar was. I had it laying around, but it's not that expensive. You can buy it in 20-foot sections from a steel yard or go to Home Depot and buy a little section of it. Super easy project for a Golf, a GTI, or I think a Jetta also has similar things. But yeah, just clamps on, 4 bolts. That thing comes right off in seconds. I'm sure someone's going to ask me how much this weighs. 2.09 pounds. So if you want any more content on a GTI, depending on when you're watching this, I might be already racing it. Currently in the middle of stripping more weight out of the car. I'm spending a lot of time pulling out like 2 pounds of wire at a time. But yeah, I'm really getting this thing super light. And I also have a whole bunch of parts in that box over there. I got brand new coilovers and everything else to put on the car, camber bolts, all that good stuff. So follow along, subscribe, and be my co-pilot. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. See ya.